education plan and his tax plan. And we're sort of receiving sort of confusing signals in reference to both plans, which is to say that in some instances I think it has been demonstrated that some people are against the state income tax that he's talking about, while in some instances the same number are in favor of that. And so why not take a few minutes to talk about your perception of the governor's plan and your perception of the possibilities of whether or not we will be able to fund that plan with his new tax program.
Pleased to do that. Let me say, first of all, that I think it is a carefully thought out plan, and one that appears to me, from what I know of it, and I know something about it, although I didn't help him develop it in detail, I have seen it at various stages in its development. I think it is very carefully based on a lot of looking at what's going on in the schools, a lot of listening to people who have children in schools and to other aspects of community life in the state, business, government, and education as well. I think the thing that probably impresses me most about the program really could be listed in 3 or 4 areas. One is, I think, the management issue. Most of the states that we looked at early on, back when Governor Alexander was doing his Better Schools program, and even more recently during Governor McWhorter's analysis period, was the issue of the school management. From that, it's concluded, I think quite clearly, that we really must have professionally appointed superintendents, that elected superintendents, judging from other states that have made this change, are a thing of the past, and that we really should get professional educators in there who run the school systems under the direction of a board. Second, principals with the authority to manage and direct with a group of teacher and teacher participation the curriculum and other activities of the school. Third, parental involvement. There is no doubt, all the research shows that the more parental involvement you have with the children's education, the communication between teacher, child, and parent, the better school experience you have for children. It makes just a bit of communication can make 1 or 2 or 3 letter grade differences in the performance of a child. So there's that aspect. The last one that I would like to mention is the introduction of new methods and materials in teaching. We know, for example, from the data that children spend more time watching television than they do sitting in class. Television is the modern medium of the child. And yet it is hardly used at all in the educational process. Computers are required in practically every job that any person takes today, and in the future it would be even more so. And yet we don't find the computer being utilized in much teaching. So one of the aspects of his program, and one in which I've been particularly interested because of my background, is the classroom of the future, using the new information technologies to help children learn. And I might add quickly that the early experiments that we have done and are doing at Vanderbilt show a real level of excitement and interest created by appropriate and innovative uses of these new information technologies in the educational process. So we're excited about that as well. Now, you asked about the tax side.
Plan, yeah. How do you divide? Yeah.
Now, I should say that I don't have the detailed numbers at hand, but in the per pupil expenditure for K through 12, just to take the K through 12 system, I think Tennessee ranks near the bottom, certainly well below the national average. Now, it's not only a matter of money. There are some school systems that spend a lot of money that don't particularly spend it well. But when we have a difference here of several $1,000s per year, per pupil, between Tennessee and the national average, or even more, the states where the schools are known to be better by every dimension we can, the public schools are better by every dimension we can measure, we see that there probably is some dollar problem. So then one could argue about exact amounts, but it's very clear that we're going to have to spend more money in the public schools in order to get the kind of things that we need. Pay the teachers more, reduce those class sizes so that the teacher can have more direct access to children. All of these things cost a little bit of money. Therefore, the money is going to have to come from somewhere. Now, as I see that, there are at least two ways to do it. One is just to sort of raise the taxes here and there in order to accommodate this increase. The other is to deal with what I think is generally felt to be a regressive tax system in Tennessee. One of the things that was surprising to us when we moved here from Massachusetts was the sales tax on food. Now, don't get me wrong, Massachusetts is known as Taxachusetts. It has every kind of tax, income, sales, high real estate. But certain things are exempted from the sales tax. And generally, when you have a situation where high sales taxes are present on food, pharmaceuticals, and the like, you can begin to see that poor people are going to be likely paying a higher proportion of their income for taxes than the more affluent as you move up the line. I think that's exactly what the analysis has shown for Tennessee. So in addition to changing the tax system for support of the schools, there is a fairness issue in the tax system itself, beyond just financing the schools. And I am pleased to see that examination going on in Tennessee now to make some adjustments that are deemed to provide a fairer tax system, so that the percentage spent for taxes might be more leveled across the various income groups. So in addition to financing education, there's also an objective here of making the tax system more fair for every Tennessean.
Now, what are some of the other things, Chancellor, you're planning on doing in terms of getting the word out in reference to this helping hand,
the Help Wanted
campaign? What are
we're doing a number of things in just citizens groups. That is, we want this to be discussed in churches, in civic organizations, in Rotary clubs, the exchange clubs, all around the communities. And that is now going on. We're going to have a televised town meeting that people can tune in and see. We're getting good spots with the Help Wanted logo on Channel 5. We're getting good material in the banner, op-ed pieces as well as more direct kind of PSA type things. And we want to get this on everyone's mind so that they are presented some basic factual information. And then at the end, we have, of course, a questionnaire. That questionnaire really needs to be, if you haven't done it already, let me say, it really needs to be sent in. We can take them now, at the time this program is airing, and that will help us in hearing what the public has to say about what it wants to do vis-a-vis these educational and job issues. The two, of course, are very closely related.
Now, you're planning on sending all of this information, at least the results, to national political figures and et cetera. How do you see that as part of the campaign?
Well, of course, the way our jobs and our education work these days is very national. Many of the people who live in Nashville today didn't live here 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We have a mobile society. When a person moves from one community to another, they take their children need to be educated, so it is both a local and a national issue. Furthermore, there is a division here, a discussion that's going on about the division between the local role for education, the city role, the state role, and the federal role, so that we need to communicate these findings, the public's view of these issues that we will address, to all of our political leaders, our policymakers, so that in fact we can hope to get a rational solution to these problems with which generally the public can agree. So as we accumulate these results, they'll first be disseminated here, and we may even discuss them here some. But we will pass them on certainly to those 5 or 6 cities